Are you tired of hearing the same old advice? Just follow your passion, or the universe will provide. Let me be real with you. That stuff doesn't work. In fact, it's just a distraction. If you're ready to stop dreaming and start building the life you actually want, then buckle up, because in the next few minutes, I'm about to give you 5 practical, no-nonsense ways to use pragmatism to make your dreams a reality. These aren't feel-good, wishful thinking tips. These are actionable strategies that anyone can start using today. Yes, even if you're stuck in a rut, unsure of how to break free. Trust me, this is going to be a game changer. If you're done wasting time on fluff and ready to take control, then hit that play button and let's dive in. The blueprint for your dream life is waiting for you, and I promise it's not what you think. Stick with me to find out exactly how pragmatism can make it happen. Number 1, embrace the power of good enough. You've heard it 1,000 times, right? Perfection is the enemy of progress. But let's be real here. How often do we ignore that piece of advice? The truth is, we've all fallen victim to the perfect mindset. We've spent hours tweaking a project, endlessly editing a video, or rewriting an email, until we're so exhausted we can barely remember what the point was. But what if I told you that in many cases, good enough is the secret to moving forward, not perfection? Now you might be thinking, but isn't doing things perfectly the way to get ahead? Yes, trust me on this. There's power in doing just enough. It's not about being lazy or cutting corners, but about understanding that perfectionism can be a trap. It holds you hostage, keeping you stuck in a loop of not yet ready, when the reality is that good enough is often more than enough. Think about it. We've all been there, waiting for the perfect moment to start something big. Maybe it's that business idea, a creative project, or even a personal goal. We think, once everything lines up perfectly, then I'll start. But weeks, months, or even years pass, and we're still stuck in that preparation phase. It's frustrating, right? That constant feeling of being on the edge of something amazing but never quite taking the plunge. Here's where the power of good enough comes into play. Instead of waiting for the stars to align or for things to be flawless, you dive in with what you have. Take action, build momentum, because here's the kicker. Most people will tell you that perfection is an illusion. It's constantly changing, evolving, and honestly, most of the time, it's unnecessary. In fact, when you embrace good enough, you often get better results faster because you stop obsessing over the small stuff and start focusing on what really matters, the outcome. Let me tell you a story. I remember a time when I was working on a huge project at work. I spent weeks perfecting every little detail, every graphic, every transition. I was deep in the weeds, and frankly, I was starting to lose sight of the big picture. The stress was mounting, and I wasn't moving forward. Finally, a colleague pulled me aside and said, "Why not just release it as it is now? It's good enough. You're just holding yourself back with this perfectionism." At first, I resisted, thinking I couldn't possibly send it out without making every little change. But you know what? I listened, I let go, pushed send, and guess what? The feedback I got was amazing, and it led to even better opportunities. Sometimes, perfection gets in the way of progress. This isn't about lowering your standards or not striving for greatness. It's about realizing that obsessing over the tiny details is robbing you of the bigger win. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you could accept that good enough is often the best step forward. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. Stop beating yourself up over every mistake or imperfection. You don't need to be perfect to be successful. You just need to keep moving. So, next time you feel like you're stuck in the loop of not ready yet, ask yourself, what would happen if I embraced the power of good enough? The answer? You'd start making progress, feeling more accomplished, and realizing that perfection was never the goal. It's about taking action, learning from mistakes, and growing. Because in the end, it's not perfection that matters, it's progress. And progress, my friend, is a whole lot more powerful than perfection ever will be. Number 2, leverage small, calculated risks. What if I told you that your biggest barrier to success isn't fear? It's actually your unwillingness to take small, calculated risks. Now I know, you're probably thinking, but risks are scary. What if I fail? Trust me on this. Calculated risks are where the magic happens. The trick isn't about jumping headfirst into chaos, but about making smart, thought-out moves that can lead to big rewards. So, if you're feeling stuck, this might just be the key to unlocking the life you've been dreaming of. You've been there, right? Staring at an opportunity, paralyzed by the what-ifs. You know the type, whether it's applying for a new job, starting a side hustle, or asking for a raise. It feels like you're standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at the unknown and thinking, what if I fall? The fear of failure is real, but here's the kicker. Failure is part of the process. If you're waiting for the stars to align perfectly before you take action, you're just going to be standing on the edge forever. Here's where the power of small, calculated risks comes into play. I'm not saying you should quit your job and bet everything on one idea. No. It's about understanding that you don't have to take giant leaps. You just need to make intentional, manageable moves. When you take a small risk, like reaching out to someone for a collaboration, experimenting with a new skill, or even just stepping out of your comfort zone in a minor way, you set off a chain reaction of growth. And the best part? You're in control. You're making informed decisions, not acting out of desperation or impulsiveness. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was stuck in a routine. I was working a regular 9 to 5, but I had this side project, a blog I'd been toying with. I wasn't sure if it would take off or if anyone would care, but I took a small risk. I sent my first email pitch to a brand I admired, asking if they'd want to collaborate. I could have told myself a million reasons why it wouldn't work, but instead, I took the chance. That one small risk led to an ongoing partnership, an audience boost, and, here's the real kicker, a sense of confidence that has propelled me to take even bigger steps since then. Sometimes, all it takes is one small, calculated risk to change everything. This isn't about being reckless. It's not about doing something crazy just for the thrill of it. It's about moving forward with purpose and intention, knowing that even if things don't go perfectly, you'll learn something valuable. And here's the best part, that learning is a win in itself. Taking risks builds resilience, teaches you to adapt, and shows you that the fear of failure is often worse than the failure itself. So, think about it. What's one small calculated risk you could take today? Maybe it's sending that email, having that conversation, or putting yourself out there in a way you haven't before. By doing so, you're not just taking a risk, you're showing up for yourself. You're saying, I believe in me, and I'm willing to take the next step. In the end, it's not about avoiding risks, because that's impossible. It's about knowing that small, calculated risks are the best way to get closer to your dreams. And guess what? Every time you take one, you're not just moving closer to your goals, you're proving to yourself that you've got what it takes to make it happen. So go ahead, take that step. Your future self will thank you. Number 3, disregard, follow your passion. Focus on what works. Here's a little secret that no one likes to admit. Follow your passion might be the worst advice out there. I know it sounds controversial. You're probably thinking, wait, what? Isn't passion supposed to be the fuel for success? Yes, I get it. Passion is powerful. But here's the thing. Passion doesn't always pay the bills or lead to sustainable success. Now, before you start rolling your eyes, hear me out. There's a smarter, more grounded approach. Focus on what works. We've all been there, right? We chase that dream, that thing we're passionate about, only to find ourselves feeling stuck, frustrated, and questioning our life choices. You know the type. You pour your heart into something, convinced that it's your calling, but months or even years go by, and nothing happens. Suddenly, you're left with a stack of passion projects that aren't paying off, and you're exhausted. So, what do? We double down. We convince ourselves that if we just push harder, if we're just more passionate, success will magically appear. But here's the problem. Passion isn't always practical. Now, imagine this. Instead of blindly following your passion, you ask yourself, what works? What is actually bringing in results? It might not sound as glamorous, but focusing on practical, real-world success is the key to long-term fulfillment. Here's the truth. There are countless stories of successful people who built their careers on skills or opportunities that weren't necessarily their passion, but they worked. They mastered something that brought them value, and the passion followed. You don't have to love what you do 100% of the time to be successful. You just need to be good at it and see results. Let me share a quick story from my own experience. I remember a few years ago, I was obsessed with the idea of writing a book. I loved writing, and it was my passion, so I thought, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do with my life. But every time I sat down to write, I hit a wall. Why? Because passion alone wasn't enough to drive me through the tedious work, the editing, the rejection letters. Eventually, I stopped obsessing over the book and decided to focus on what worked, creating content that I could build a following around. I started blogging, creating videos, and sharing ideas that resonated with people. Eventually, that turned into more opportunities, and guess what? I started to feel passionate about those things because they worked. The passion didn't come first. It came after I found what was bringing value. This shift in perspective isn't just about business or projects. It's about reclaiming your mental and emotional energy. How many times have you stayed stuck in something because you felt like you had to, or because society told you it was your passion? When you stop chasing passion and start focusing on what works, you give yourself permission to change course when needed, to adjust, and to pivot when things don't feel right. It's not about giving up. It's about being wise enough to know when to move in a different direction. So, next time you find yourself obsessing over the idea of following your passion, take a moment to ask, what is working for me right now? What skills, tasks, or projects are bringing in results, no matter how small? This shift in thinking will give you more freedom than any passion-driven obsession ever could. It's about being pragmatic, staying flexible, and finding satisfaction not in the pursuit of a passion that may never come, but in the real, tangible results that build your life. In the end, focusing on what works doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means setting yourself up to actually achieve them, and that's where the magic happens. Not in passion for passion's sake, but in a grounded, actionable approach to creating the life you want. Your success isn't defined by your passion. It's defined by your ability to focus on what gets results. And trust me, that's the smartest way to build the life you've always wanted. Number 4, cut out toxic positivity. Face the hard truths. Here's a truth bomb for you. Toxic positivity is holding you back. Now, before you start thinking I'm some kind of Debbie Downer, hear me out. We've all been told to just stay positive or look on the bright side when life gets tough, right? But here's the thing, sometimes life isn't that bright, and pretending it is only makes things worse. Now, you might be thinking, but positivity helps, right? Yes, it does. But forcing positivity when things aren't okay doesn't solve anything. In fact, it can leave you stuck. Trust me, Facing the hard truths is the real way forward. We've all been there, staring at a tough situation, maybe a breakup, a job you hate, or just general life chaos, and people throw around their good vibes like it's the magic fix. It's fine, just think positive. Yeah, we've heard it. You know the type. They want to cheer you up with motivational quotes or the whole everything happens for a reason routine. But in reality, that just makes you feel worse, right? You don't need more fluff. You need real answers, real conversations, and sometimes you just need to sit with the uncomfortable emotions without brushing them off. Here's the deal. Toxic positivity is a way of avoiding the uncomfortable truths of life. We've been taught that acknowledging the negative is a sign of weakness or failure. But the truth is, it's a sign of strength. It's only when you face the hard truths that you can actually begin to change things. And guess what? You don't have to stay stuck in negativity. Facing reality doesn't mean you're doomed to misery forever. It just means you're finally dealing with the stuff that's been holding you back. Once you confront it, you can start making empowered decisions and take real action. Let me give you an example. A while back, I was in a job that I absolutely hated. I would try to convince myself it was fine. It's just temporary. It's not that bad. Other people have it worse. But deep down, I knew I was miserable. I kept forcing myself to think positive and be grateful. But the reality was, I was stuck in a situation that didn't serve me. It wasn't until I allowed myself to admit the hard truth, that this job wasn't fulfilling me and that I was wasting my time, that I took action. I started making moves to get out, whether that meant looking for new opportunities or developing skills in areas I actually cared about. Facing the truth allowed me to create real change in my life. Here's the powerful part of this. Facing hard truths gives you freedom. It's not about being negative for the sake of it. It's about acknowledging what's really going on, even if it's uncomfortable. This is where you regain control. When you let go of the expectation to always be positive, you stop pretending everything is okay. You give yourself permission to feel, process, and act in alignment with what's best for you. This is about reclaiming your peace. Because when you stop forcing that fake positivity, you actually start feeling empowered to make choices that move you forward. So the next time you feel pressured to plaster a smile on your face and ignore what's bothering you, ask yourself, what's the truth here? What's really going on? When you embrace the uncomfortable, you're taking a powerful step towards personal growth. It's not about being pessimistic, it's about being honest with yourself. And once you've done that, real change is just a step away. Remember, facing the hard truths doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger, more self-aware, and far more capable of creating the life you truly deserve. So, cut out the toxic positivity, embrace reality, and take control. Your peace, your clarity, and your strength will follow. Number 5, break the 9 to 5, but do it responsibly. Here's a bold statement. You don't have to follow the 9 to 5 grind. Now, I know what you're thinking, but everyone says you need to work a traditional job to make it in life. Trust me, I get it. That's the narrative we've all been fed for years. But here's the truth. The 9 to 5 isn't the only path to success. In fact, it's not even the best one for everyone. Now, before you quit your job and start living the freelance dream, hear me out. Breaking the 9 to 5 doesn't mean being reckless. It means doing it responsibly. Let's face it, we've all been in that place where we're staring at the clock, counting down the minutes until freedom. You know the type. The person who's been working long hours, feeling stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill them, and dreaming of the day they can say goodbye to that office chair. But then the doubts creep in. What if I fail? What if I don't have health insurance? What if I can't pay my bills? It's scary, right? And these concerns are real. The idea of breaking away from the 9-to-5 world can feel like you're jumping off a cliff with no safety net. But what if I told you that you could leap into freedom responsibly? Here's the strategy. It's not about quitting your job impulsively or burning bridges. It's about planning, learning, and transitioning. The secret to breaking the 9-to-5 cycle without falling flat on your face is all in how you approach it. Take time to build your skills and create side projects while you're still working. Start small. Build an income stream that doesn't rely on your day job, whether it's freelancing, starting an online business, or investing in something you're passionate about. It's about creating an exit strategy rather than a drastic all-or-nothing move. This way, when the time comes to leave, you'll have a safety net of knowledge, savings, and income that makes the leap feel like a step, not a fall. Let me give you a real example. A few years ago, I was working a regular office job. Every day felt like a repeat of the last. But I had this dream of becoming a full-time content creator. Instead of throwing in the towel and going broke in the process, I spent a year honing my skills. I started creating videos on weekends, working late nights, and gradually building an audience. I learned what worked and what didn't. After building a small but steady income from my side hustle, I made the move. It wasn't some dramatic moment. It was a calculated shift, a move I could make without worrying about paying rent or scrambling for gigs. This transition gave me peace of mind because it was planned. Breaking the 9-to-5 cycle doesn't just free you from a job you hate. It frees you mentally. It gives you the space to think, create, and design the life you want. But it also teaches you discipline and responsibility. This is about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your peace. You get to make the rules. It's empowering to know that you're not waiting for someone else to dictate your schedule. You get to build something that truly fits your lifestyle. So, if you're thinking of breaking the 9-to-5 grind, start planning today. Take small steps, build your safety net, and don't rush it. When you take responsibility for your exit, you're not just quitting a job, you're building a new chapter in your life. And that's the power of doing it responsibly. You're in control, you're free. And most importantly, you've done it on your terms. Your freedom is earned, and that makes all the difference. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video gave you some practical insights on how to build your dream life using pragmatism. No fluff, just real, actionable strategies. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. And hey, if you know someone who could benefit from these tips, share the video with them. They'll thank you for it. I'd also love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let me know what steps you're taking to build your dream life. Let's start a conversation and keep supporting each other. Remember, your dream life isn't some far-off fantasy. It's something you can create, step by step. Keep moving forward, and I'll see you in the next video.